Thus far, all evidence regarding the bombings at the Boston Marathon finish line on Patriots Day, commemorating the battles of Lexington, points at a mysterious entity suddenly becoming aware and moving to destroy any potential threat to its existence. We have awakened in a Terminator movie. The mysterious entity is the Federal Reserve, a group of banks mostly believed to be European, the ownership and real management totally unknown, that controls not just America's economic system but nearly every other central bank in the world. Investigators have shown that the Fed has broken away from all oversight, has taken on its own military and intelligence service, and has become a de facto supranational entity, not just controlling world economies, but now, through Google, a series of Blackwater analogs and partnerships with AIPAC, NATO, and the drug cartels, is now able to wage war and dispense justice. The Fed's first war is, of course, against the US. Toward that end, they have taken on gold, silver, moved to run up fuel prices, have tried to crash Bitcoin, and are threatening the highly secret Reagan-Mitterrand-Wanta protocols that would have erased America's national debt. The protocols challenge 10 trillion of the debt as fraudulent and eventually pay off the rest. Behind the scenes, Secretary Hagel and General Dempsey and those who run America's military are quickly rooting out the generals and admirals who were planning a patriotic revolt to restore the Constitution. Those FEMA camps aren't imaginary. They are real as any nightmare. What is both shameful and sad is that millions of Americans who would have been good, decent Americans out of total stupidity become dupes of Wall Street, the Fed, and enemies we will never be able to name, buying in on PSYOP emails, wild rumors, and childish scare tactics. Boston is just one in a series of tableaus we can expect, all intended to exploit the flaws in the American character. That smell, that false flag smell. Why are all terror attacks either coincidentally timed to coincide with a terror drill, or planned by the FBI, who then finds needed warm bodies from the local Quran remedial readership group? We have proof positive that our government is lying about the incident in Boston. It is fully clear that a full-scale terror drill was going on at the Boston Marathon. Do we want to term this another intelligence failure catastrophe, or take our suspicions further? With all that is going on in America, including but not limited to what is public domestic terror scares, gun confiscation scares, or the machinations of the Federal Reserve System, any act of terror is immediately looked upon as time to distract or to manipulate. With literally hundreds of Sandy Hook lies exposed, phony parents caught giggling while prepping for tearful interviews, to disappearing arrested killers, to a litany of extremely serious contradictions, America's next iconic terror attack, limbs strewn, an 8-year-old sacrificed, a patriotic holiday stained forever, America will be split into two camps, believers and those who think. With 2 fatal lies exposed in 2 videos, Boston is exposed as a false flag terror attack so carelessly planned that the press wasn't even notified of their role. Thus, the mainstream pop culture media blew this one out of the water. We ask, what if there are only these 2 videos? OJ was found not guilty of much less, a pair of gloves. This reminds me of the story of a priest. When arrested for child molestation, he queries the police, but I only had sex with just one little boy. The issue with iconic acts of false flag terror is always the same. Who benefits? Stage 2 of the controlled media is now trying to find domestic patriot groups or mysterious Saudi terrorists to blame. Then we begin to think, what about all those videos from Sandy Hook, the school psychologist who identified the son of a kindergarten teacher, one she looked in the eye, only to recant a day later? How about the assault rifle that became a shotgun in the trunk of a car that belonged to someone who lived 40 miles away? Who was chased and arrested in the woods behind the school? Please remember, we didn't just receive an excuse on this. The entire incident was erased from our memories, or so we are led to believe. Then I think of Norway and Breivik. We are asked to forget his car bomb, 2 tons of aluminium nitrate packed inside an Opel Corsa that Hertz says can only carry 1 suitcase. Check on that if you might. If you believe the news, everyone in Norway belongs to the police Freemason Lodge, has police uniforms and an assault rifle. Oh, others were arrested there too and disappeared. Remember the Detroit crotch bomber? Wasn't there someone else arrested there also? Here, even Fox News reports that highly credible eyewitness report that the terrorist was escorted onto the plane by what appeared to be FBI agents. Oh, 911 arrests too, also disappeared. Of course, 911 happened on a day when the US military was holding an air defense drill, with all planes too busy practicing shooting down hijacked airliners to manage to chase down what we are told were 3 real ones. As for terror attacks, coinciding with drills, the 7/7 attacks in London is the all-time prize winner. There, an Israeli group was hired to simulate a bombing attack on the London Underground, hiring young Islamic men as actors to carry bombs that later turned out to be real. As Jim W. Dean so often says, you just can't make things like this up. Busting the real terrorists nearly put John Anthony Hill in prison. His DVD exposing the truth was found by a British jury to be a credible version of the facts, meaning 7/7 was a proven false flag terror attack. You want hard proof of false flags? Boston is it. Ignore it. Deny it if you will, but expect to die from the consequences of your actions.